So let's see. So I have a Stanley update. I talked to his criticalist this morning, which is his doctor who's been overseeing his care in the ICU. And so to recap, he is being treated for diabetic ketoacidosis, and I know there's been some confusion about I'm trying to pause for the CCing. Confusion about whether he is diabetic or not. He has had normal blood glucose levels on prior tests, and so while he's having symptoms of diabetes currently, we don't know if that's a new primary problem or if it is just another weird symptom of whatever underlying disease we don't know about yet, which is the thing we're trying to diagnose. So all of the questions that you guys are having, we're having too, including this, like a team of specialists, a team of vets, and so everyone is perplexed by the test results and that he would develop this diabetic ketoacidosis all of a sudden. But anyway, so he's been stable since he was admitted on, was it Friday? I think it might have been Friday. And his vitals have been stable. His appetite came back quickly, which they were very happy about. And that what they've been waiting on is for him to start getting negative results for ketones in his urine. And so sometime between 2 and 3 this morning, they got their first negative result, meaning that his body is no longer producing ketones, which is fantastic news. That means he's no longer in ketoacidosis. So the challenge now is they're putting him back on the low dose long-acting insulin, and which we had started him on just prior to him going into ketoacidosis. So sorry, it's hard for me to talk slow and remember what I'm talking about. So, okay, so yeah, so the good news is that he's negative for ketones, his appetite has been great, he's doing well in the hospital. Suzanne and Kathy are with him now, petting him and making sure that he's getting snuggles, but the staff has been really great there, taking good care of him, and they're going to continue to monitor him very closely as they transition to the injectable insulin, which is a different kind of insulin. He's been on IV insulin and fluids, and so now he's going into just twice a day insulin injections. So they want to make sure that they get his blood glucose into acceptable ranges and that he continues to be stable and continues to eat and all that stuff. So it should be at least another 24 hours. And then we are going, his specialist his primary specialist over there is out of town until Wednesday, which is fine because we think we'll be bringing him home in the next couple of days, and then he'll go back to see the specialist, who will have to now process the, this whole thing, and then try to figure out what it all means and where we go from here. But in the meantime, we will be treating him for diabetes, and we'll have to just monitor his blood glucose really closely, because again, we don't know if he is currently diabetic, but we don't know if that's a transient issue or a permanent issue. We don't know what he's not eating a diabetic diet at the moment, because they want to very slowly ease into managing his insulin. So we still have lots of work ahead, but the good news and the bottom line is that he has responded very well to treatment, and I think they were even a little bit surprised that he had no more ketones so quickly. He's been eating great, so we had been planning, like we had prepared they were trying to prepare us for hospitalization for up to 8 days to get him stabilized. So, and we were pretty worried at first, because we just don't know what this unknown underlying disease that is throwing everything so out of whack is. We just don't know how that complicates things or what effect that has. But we just have to do what we can and keep him comfortable and happy and feeling good, and then continue. We had a few more tests that we're running, and so each time we get a new symptom, it opens up kind of different possibilities for what might be going on. So all we can do is continue to investigate those possibilities and keep trying. Oh, we have a visitor. It's Yoda. Yoda, the feisty neighbor cat. Let's see if you can see him. Whoops. Oh, I think I scared him away. And I can't see now that the camera's pointing at him. So let's see if he comes back. Yoda likes to come and taunt the cats inside the house. Yes, he does. He's very scampy. So I think we're all feeling much better. I think we can relax a little bit. Like as far as immediate, we were pretty concerned on when this all started to happen. We were pretty concerned because it can be fatal, and it came on very quickly, and it just doesn't make sense. So he hasn't gained weight. I will post a video that Suzanne and Kathy they've been sending some videos of their visit, so I'll post that. And I'll post a less scattered update. And then so I think we're definitely hopeful that this crisis is he's responded really well to this particular crisis. We obviously, there's no way to know what's coming next for him, and that's tough. We don't know if there's still a few things we haven't ruled out, like feline infectious peritonitis, or FIP, which is 100% fatal. There's nothing we would be able to do to stop that. We've done as much testing as we can do, and all of the tests have been as negative as they can be, but that still doesn't 100% rule it out. So it's very unlikely, but it is still a possibility that's, you know, pretty concerning. But it could also be something else. We just don't know. So we're waiting on some more test results, and we'll just keep working on it. So that's the news about Stanley. Thank you guys so much for all of your support and the donations. It's definitely, I think, the biggest deposit we've ever put down for a cat. And you know, we've put some big ones down, but it's really, it's of great comfort to us to know that we can make a big deposit like that, and then we know that we'll be able to get support from you guys to make it possible for him to get the very best medical care, because we all know that he's worth it. And it's super great that we are able to raise money for, you know, a little feral cat with major medical issues, that you guys care enough and think he's worth saving enough to donate toward his care. So we're very grateful about that. So as far as how we figured it out, so it was Gwen. So he went in on the 27th. I think that was Wednesday. Let's see. Yep, the 27th he went. Gwen took him in because he had lost some weight, and we wanted to do a couple more tests. And so at that time he was stable, and aside from the weight loss, which we couldn't quite understand, his glucose came back high, which is not unusual for cats when they're stressed. Their glucose will often spike. So for us to get, and we had gotten a previous high glucose result, but we had also gotten normal glucose results, so you would expect a diabetic cat to always be on the highs, to be somewhat consistent. And we know Stanley is stressed when he goes to the vet, so and he wasn't showing other symptoms. So none of the multiple vets or specialists. It's something we had sort of discussed as, like, you know, early on as something that's very unlikely, but you know, it's some possible. But we never saw, nobody ever flagged it as we need to address this right now. It just was kind of something to keep an eye on. And so we got that back, and then we did something called a fructosamine, which returns the average of the last 2 weeks of his blood glucose. So, and I was talking to Dr. Ferguson about this, and she's never had a cat who had a normal fructosamine, meaning that the average of the blood glucose over the last 2 weeks was normal. She's never had a cat with those results also have diabetes. So it was easy to look at the elevated glucose on Wednesday and say that's just a stress reaction, and it could very well have been a stress reaction. And then, just to be on the safe side, we did the fructosamine, which came back normal. And so at that point, Dr. Glups talked to Stanley's primary specialist, his internal medicine specialist, and they decided that, just to be on the safe side again, to start a very low dose of the insulin and monitor his blood glucose very carefully. After doing that, keep his diet the same and everything, but just start him on a very low dose. And so that's what they were in the process of doing when, I guess it would be, so that started on Thursday, and then on Friday, early afternoon, I guess it was, Gwen noticed that he was pretty lethargic, and so she immediately, you know, sent all of us videos, and we were like, yep, take him to Emerge. And so they and Kathy and Suzanne were here also, and so Kathy took him to Emerge like immediately, to his specialist. The specialist luckily has a 24-hour critical care unit, so which is great, because that's where he needed to be, and they have all of his records, and they have like a great team of specialists, and they have really advanced equipment and stuff, so whatever he would need to get, he would be able to get there. So Kathy got him there and got him admitted. Jennifer, Chloe's a doctor, and Luke and Leia met her there for some moral support, because they were all super worried. And then at that point, and then a few hours later, we found out it was the diabetic ketoacidosis, which was a pretty big surprise to all of us. And so that's how it happened. We have the very best team of people here, and they're super observant, and that definitely saved his life, because if it had happened, if he had gone another 12 hours, it might have been too late to reverse it. So it was really great that they all participated in noticing something was wrong and getting him in right away, even though he had just been in, he had just had blood work done. There was nothing really major identified, but he's been a really challenging case from the start, so we're super, super fortunate to have such a great team. And Gwen, of course, has been like running herself ragged this week while I was away. So I'm never going on vacation again, obviously. Although they did an amazing job. We also did a bunch of TNR last week, and which it has involved some dentals and some long-term treatment. So it's been a super busy week for Gwen. Lori Nickel has been a huge help. She has, and Dave also did. Lori and Dave did Mason meds and evening rounds and weekend stuff, and have helped out a ton. So it definitely takes a village. But we had a super productive week. Look how cute. I need a home. Why don't you have a home? Yeah, so, and I happened to be away with Dr. F, so that was convenient. Because we were able to confer on all the results, and we were like brainstorming, and she's like texting people, and I'm texting people, and that was nice. But boy, it was tough to be away. So Aura, I do have an Aura update, but I'm waiting on Rory to finish her work. Oh, so pointy. You need a pedicure? I should have brought some clippers with me. Maybe I'll get them while Rory finishes up her business. over. Come on. You're so cute, you're cute. I probably need a potty here too. So, you're so cute. She needs a home too. You're so pretty. Look at the dust on your face. So Aura update. She's had a bit of a URI this week, the last week or so. So she went on antibiotics for the first time in several months. Because she's going in on Wednesday for a little touch-up surgery for her palate. She has just some really tiny holes along the midline of her hard and soft palate, like where the ridges come together, and then like a tiny one just where her soft palate meets her hard palate. They're very small, like the size of a pinhead, but we're wondering if that's why she continues to have the nose infections. So, because she's had them pretty much the whole time, and so we're thinking that there's a chance that if they're able to close up all those holes, maybe she can, maybe that will help prevent. There's still some stuff that's getting into her nose. It's much better than before, but just like there's a little bit of stuff that's still getting in through those holes. So her doctors called it just a little touch-up surgery. So it shouldn't be, hopefully, anything major. I'm not sure yet what procedure they're going to use or what they're going to do to close them up. But that will be on Wednesday. So I've sort of tried to clear, Wednesday and Thursday and stuff too, so that I can make sure that she is getting monitored very closely. And then if we have the Stanley back, he will also need some very close monitoring. So, but she's doing really well. Even with her constant nose infections, she doesn't slow down at all. She feels good. She's playful and active and all that stuff. And so, hi. Oh, you're so pointy. Hey, look, we can be friends. Friends do this to each other. Look, I only do a little bit too. I feel like this one's pointier. Your friend Suzanne will be happy if you're not quite as pointy. What a good girl. Look, see, this is such a good cat. Look at that. Look at that. What a glorious creature you are. Magnificent. Yeah, so it's not surprising that that she needs a little follow-up surgery. We were actually expecting that she would need 2 surgeries initially and then possibly a third. We're not surprised, and so I think we're just hopeful that this will improve her nose infections. We don't know we can't say 100% that it will, because she still is lacking the nasal turbinates, which help to filter out viruses and bacteria and other pathogens that just are inhaled normally. It would be like a human without like nose hair or like, any of the stuff in there. Everything you inhale just goes straight into your sinuses and then you get infection. So that's kind of what she's been dealing with. So we're hoping that it will at least make it better. But we don't know. So that will be Wednesday. So kittens have had their first vaccines, and so they could, in theory, meet Grandpa Mason. And I was planning to do that this week. I'm a little bit cautious because Aura has still her eyes a little bit squinty still from whatever virus she has, and so I don't want to expose the kittens to that when they haven't had their booster vaccine. So we'll have to work something out there. So maybe while she's recovering from her surgery, then the kittens can meet with Mason. So lots of logistics to work out, but we are going to make it happen. Mason's doing great. He now has 3 other people besides me who are able to feed and medicate him, which is awesome. And he's still doing great. His anemia has been slow to respond, so we have about a 3% increase in his hematocrit, which is basically his that's how we measure anemia, one of the ways we measure anemia. So it's gone up about 3%. We would like for it to go up 10% total. So we'll continue the treatment and just see how it goes. And he has a couple other things that we are trying to address that are slow to, they're not like really responding yet, but he's feeling good and he's doing well. So we know at some point we're not going to be able to fix the things that are going wrong, but so far it's nothing critical. It's just sort of little peripheral things that are a little bit off their mark, like his, we know that his potassium, he has low potassium, so we're giving him potassium supplements, and his phosphorus is high, so we're, so it's just adjusting those little things so that his numbers are as stable as possible. His kidney values are actually pretty stable still, which is good, so it's just getting these other things, like we would like for him to not be as anemic, because that puts a stress on the rest of his organs and stuff. So it's stuff we're working on, but nothing that we expect to be an issue, nothing that's critical or anything like that, just normal aging cat kidney disease stuff. HQ repairs have been coming along this week, so that's where I'm headed next after all the kitten foods and cat meds and everything are done, to check that out. And then we've got maybe more surprises for you later. And Stashy's doing, Stashy's stable, so we were expecting that February would be, maybe the month we had to say goodbye, but he's still hanging in there, so we keep being surprised by these forest sparrows and how resilient they are. I will post more photos of HQ at some point once there's some good stuff to post. What else? I think that's probably it. It's a long update for a very eventful week. So Gwen is hopefully going to take Monday off, and I'm trying to get her to take Tuesday off too, but she's stubborn. And what else? I don't know. I'm sure there's more. It's been such an eventful week, but thanks again to the mods for the mods and I are always in touch with and they do such a great job keeping everyone posted and providing as much information as possible. They don't always have the information, but they've done an awesome job through some pretty complicated stuff. Hey, let's try this. Let's try this. This will be good. Yeah, so, these are very sharp. Good job. Great job. Oh, we don't have to wrestle. We don't have to wrestle like you like being petted. I get 30%, 40%. 40%. Okay, I'll accept that. That's pretty You need a home. So these two need homes. They're delightful. And Jean Grey's doing great. She's purred in her foster home, which is amazing. Like, she never purred for any of us, so we were a little bit jealous. But that's such a great sign. So she's doing really great. Maddie's obviously doing amazing in her home. And so Jean Grey will stay in her foster home until her foster thinks she's ready. So that situation is working out fantastically. Stanley, I think, we were really relieved. He's been able to relax, and he's getting lots of love. Everyone loves him there because he's so adorable, obviously. So he's been getting really good care, and they're also giving him a little bit of gabapentin to help with his fear response. So he's actually been pretty comfortable, which is great. And I think that's it. So anyway, I'm going to go on to the next thing. I'm covered in fluff and toenails. And I will post something on Facebook in a little bit about Stanley. Let's see, I better put this back. I find this very amusing.